Okay, so for the next few minutes, we're going to do something kind of cool. We're going to take this huge metaphor that basically runs how you think about your inner life, and we're going to tear it down. But don't worry, we're going to build something way better in its place. Something that's not only more scientifically on point, but, and this is the wild part, actually connects you to the entire cosmos.
So, let's start with a really simple question. Have you ever talked about good vibes? Or, walked into a room and said something like, wow, the energy in here is weird. Yeah, of course you have. We all do. This kind of talk is it's everywhere.
Think about it. We talk about raising our frequency. We feel an electric connection with someone we've just met. We avoid that one spot because it has bad energy. Without even realizing it, we've built this whole spiritual dictionary that treats our soul like it's some kind of radio or a piece of electrical hardware.
But what if that whole metaphor is just wrong? What if we've been using the wrong blueprint this whole time? That's the core idea we're digging into today. And it's this. Your spirit, the actual texture of what it feels like to be you, it isn't electrical, it's chemical. And believe me, that one little word changes absolutely everything.
All right, so if it's not electrical, where did we even get this idea? Why are we so obsessed with vibes and frequencies? Well, to figure that out, we actually need to jump in a time machine.
So I want you to picture it. You're living in the late 1800s, and all of a sudden these things that seem like pure magic start appearing. A telegraph lets voices zip across continents, like ghosts on a wire. A light bulb banishes the dark with a flick of a switch. A radio pulls signals right out of thin air. For the average person, this wasn't technology, it was a miracle. So naturally, when they tried to explain the unexplainable, the soul, that deep connection with another person, maybe even ghosts, they grabbed the most powerful, most magical metaphor they could find, electricity.
And this is the key. It's so important. We built an image of the soul based on the tech of 1890. It was an analogy, right? It wasn't based on the actual structure of how we work. Your body doesn't operate like a copper wire. The reality of being human is, well, it's way messier and a lot more physical.
Which brings us right back to the heart of it all. Our experience of life isn't wired. It's wet. It's fluid. It's the world of biology, of chemistry.
Just think about the difference for a second. Electricity, it's instant. It's on or it's off. It's kind of abstract. But chemistry, chemistry is different. Chemistry lingers. It creates these slow, flowing cascades of feeling that are super physical. An emotion doesn't just flick off like a light switch, right? It washes over you, it fades, it recedes. That's a liquid. That's chemistry.
Okay, let's use an example, fear. Now, yeah, the signal that you see a threat, that's a super fast electrical impulse in your brain. But the feeling of fear, the actual experience of it, that's adrenaline dumping into your blood, that's cortisol latching onto receptors in your chest. Heck, even the way we talk about it is fluid. We say, my blood ran cold, or I was sweating with fear. We never say, oh man, I just had a fear spark.
And what about love? That feeling of deep, deep connection. It's not a frequency you're tuning into. It's driven by oxytocin. That's a real physical molecule traveling through your blood. When you hug someone you care about, your body releases this hormone, and it literally acts like a key fitting into a lock, physically bonding you to them on a molecular level. How cool is that?
So here's the kicker. When we say we have chemistry with someone, we're actually being, maybe by accident, way more scientifically accurate than when we say we have an electric connection. It's like our everyday language already knew the truth.
And get this whole chemical view of our inner world, it's not some brand new idea. Turns out ancient practices that we often dismiss as just mystical were actually really sophisticated ways of using the human body as a personal laboratory. Here's a fun little historical clue for you. Ever stop to wonder why we call a bottle of whiskey or gin spirits? It's not just some random old-fashioned name. Nope, there is a very literal alchemical reason for it.
So, imagine you're an ancient alchemist. Your whole deal is just watching how things work. You take a plant, you distill it, and you get this clear, powerful liquid out of it. It's essence. Then, someone drinks that liquid, and boom, their whole consciousness changes. From your perspective, what just happened? It looked exactly like a literal spirit from the plant entered their body and took over.
And suddenly, this reframes everything, doesn't it? The tavern with its alcohol, the temple with its rituals. They were basically both laboratories for altered states. The goal was the same, change your consciousness. And the tool was always the same too, chemistry, biology.
And these rituals were basically advanced chemical engineering. Take incense.
It wasn't just to make the room smell nice. Some of those compounds actually bypass the main sensory switchboard in your brain and go straight for your emotional centers. Chanting, that humming and vibrating, stimulates your vagus nerve, which basically tells your whole body to calm down. Fasting, it literally changes your brain's fuel source, putting it into a state called ketosis that can lead to incredible clarity and even visions. These weren't just symbolic things they were doing. They were physical, biological hacks.
Okay, I know what some of you might be thinking right now. Isn't this all a little reductive, a little boring? But stick with me, because this last part argues the complete opposite. Understanding that we're chemical doesn't take away the magic. It plugs it into the entire universe.
Let's just tackle that idea head on, because it's a totally valid fear. Does thinking this way just reduce us to a bag of chemicals? A meat sack? The answer is absolutely not. In fact, it points to something so much bigger, so much more amazing.
Okay, just follow this journey with me for a second. Far away, a star, which is basically a giant nuclear reactor, fuses atoms and shoots out a photon of light. That little packet of energy travels 93 million miles through empty space, zips through our atmosphere, and hits a leaf on a plant. Through photosynthesis, the plant traps that star energy and stores it as sugar. Then, you eat that plant. And your body takes those building blocks and makes molecules like serotonin, the very chemical that lets you feel calm and peaceful.
And that right there, that's the mind-blowing takeaway. The joy you feel isn't some abstract vibe. It is, quite literally, processed sunlight. It's the energy from a star, captured in matter, and then released in a tiny chemical reaction inside your own brain. You are experiencing the afterglow of a sun.
And what this means is actually really beautiful and really democratic. See, if spirituality is about frequencies, then it's easy to create a hierarchy, right? Some people are high vibe, others are not. But if it's chemical, then anybody with a body, anyone with a bloodstream and a brain is already in. You're already equipped. The capacity for the sacred is just built right into our biology.
So what does this mean for you? Like tomorrow morning, what's the takeaway? It means we can stop trying to fix a radio and start tending a garden. Instead of trying to do this abstract thing like raise your vibration, you can ask real, tangible questions. Did I get enough sleep? Have I eaten something that's actually food? Have I moved my body today? Have I hugged someone? It's just a much kinder and honestly a much more effective way to take care of yourself.
You know, so many spiritual traditions are all about escaping the body, transcending the physical. But this way of looking at things says the complete opposite. Your body isn't a prison you need to escape from. It's the laboratory. The density, the messiness, the physicality of it all. That's not a bug, it's the feature. That's the exact spot where the miracle happens. And so I want to leave you with this final kind of mind-bending thought. You breathe out. A tree breathes in what you just exhaled, and it uses that to build itself. Later, maybe you eat a piece of fruit from that tree. So if our experience of being alive is truly chemical, and those chemicals are constantly flowing between us and the world, then where exactly do you stop, and where does the rest of the universe begin?